عصف الأنين بداخلي كم مرة قد ذاق قلبي من أساه محن تمر وكم كرهت مصابها لكن رأيت الخير يسكب في أنا كم مرة قد ضقت من عظم البال.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. ما بعد. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. حياكم الله to all our subscribers and to those who have not subscribed, who are, I am sure, due to subscribe after watching this. Bi-idhnillah subhanahu wa ta'ala. A brief background or introduction, should I say. This is a continuation of a response to Abdul Rahman Hassan's 14 hours plus podcast, which is riddled with so much distortions, deception, and this part 2 would basically highlight that. Part 1 destroyed his fundamental argument, which was his whole what he was relying upon. His whole argument was sort of built up on sort of the Sahaba had Ijma. Now we already debunked that in part 1, and if whoever's interested, go watch Trainwreck part 1. It's available, so you can obviously if you haven't watched it already, go back to that. I know it's lengthy, it's 2.5 hours plus, or if not longer. But it's important that you obviously understand the sequence and why I've sort of split it into 3 parts, because no one's going to go watch a 5-hour response, and obviously part 3 will be lengthy as well. This particular part will cover the deception and the deceit of Abdul Rahman Hassan. We have already established that he doesn't quote or doesn't present scholarly works and then obviously show it on screen, because at the end of the day he relies upon forums, he relies upon websites, and he also relies upon contemporary students of knowledge and basically copies them, as we obviously proved in part 1. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a slight taster just to show you why I am sort of reiterating and emphasizing on the specific words that I'm using, which is distortions and deception, or deception and distortions, and there's many other words I can use, but just let me show you a brief example of what I mean.
The Khilaf of Yazid was not like the Khilaf of the Muslim leaders that we have today. It's been established, it's there. It's not like that. It was there, but big parts of the Muslim world were giving bay'ah to other people. They weren't with it. He wasn't a Khilafatul Muslimin like his dad was, or like you mentioned Abu Bakr, etc. was. So
did you just hear that? Did you actually listen to what Beaver said? He said the Khilafah of the Muslim rulers, or the Khilafah of Yazid, is not like the Khilafah of the Muslim rulers we have today. I know you're not the brightest fish in the sea, mate. And I know you're a PR assistant, and should, like I said in my previous part, just stick to photocopying and stick to emails and stick to being deceptive, by sending private messages like you did to me, and saying it's not a response to anyone, but throughout the video you're saying they said and he said, and so listen, I know Super Salafiyah don't have any consistency and principles, but for you to even put this idea forward, or even utter these stupid statements by saying the Khilafah of Yazid was not like the Khilafah of the Muslim rulers we have today. What Khilafah of the Muslim rulers? And for the record, man, you can only have one Khalif that rules a Khilafah. One Khalif. You can't have more than one Khalif at one time. For you to say the Khilafah of Yazid is not like the Khilafah of the Muslim rulers we have today. What are you talking about? Which Muslim rulers of today are Khalifs? And number 2, Abdul Rahman Hassan didn't even correct him. He just nodded his head. That just shows me enough about this individual. That just shows me that they sweeten you, behind closed doors, and they act all humble, and they act all, they carry themselves in a certain way. But believe you me, I'll be honest with you, they carry this sort of taqiyya that, because we're al-bid'ah, they can behave, show us one face and reality have another face. Leaking private emails, Well, again, that's nothing new, is there? But you had your reasons why, because you had the mujtahidun at that particular time. So just to sort of start off, that's just a way to ease you in. The Khilafah of Yazid was not like the Khilafah of the Muslim rulers we have today, and Abdul Rahman Hassan was not exact. Like have a listen.
Khilafah of Yazid was not like the Khilafah of the Muslim leaders that we have today. It's been established. It's there. It's not like that. It was there, but big parts of the Muslim world were giving bay'ah to other people. They weren't with it. He wasn't a Khilafah al-Muslimin like his dad was, or like you mentioned Abu Bakr, etc. was. So,
congratulations, mate. Well done, mate. Dumbest statement of the century, honestly. Well done. So, what we're going to do now is we're going to now play a series of videos throughout this particular part, which would highlight the utter contempt for sincerity and his utter disregard for partiality and no fear of Allah Azza wa Jal. When you're a public figure the way you are, and you've created this demeanor and you create this aura of I'm a student of knowledge, or people perceive you to be a student of knowledge. Ya akhi al-aziz, wallahi al-azim, I fear for you on the day that you have to stand before Allah Azza wa Jal with the amount of distortions that you've presented to the Muslims around the world. Wallahi al-azim, I fear for that day. So make tawbah before it's too late. So let's start off this video now, or this particular part. We've already shown you Beavis and Butthead in action, but now let's continue this, and part 3 will be obviously the icing on the cake, but part 2 will just like you'll be sick at the end of this particular video. So let's start off.
The first group are the Bughat.
okay.
The Bughat are those who they are annahum ahlul haqq. They're ahlul haqq. And the proof ahlul haqq, meaning they are asking for what is their haqq.
That's what it means. It doesn't mean they're the people of the truth.
No.
That they're doing a good thing. Ahlul haqq.
Ahlul haqq doesn't mean they're upon the truth. It just means what they are demanding and what they want is right. They've been wronged. They've been oppressed. They're asking, they want their rights. That's what they are. They're ahlul haqq.
But I have to ask you, how do you understand that? Because ahlul haqq can also mean the people of the truth, can it not?
No, what do you mean?
Ahlul haqq.
So why does Allah tell us to fight with them? Why does Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala and the Messenger Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and the Ijma of the ummah and the scholars is that we fight with these people? I'm going to go into this.
Okay.
They are ahlul haqq, inshallah, meaning what they are asking for is legit. It doesn't pose what the Sharia. For example, the government is just cutting their electricity. They're not giving them their rights. They're being starved. Etc. That's the first thing.
Okay.
Second reason is أن سبب خروجهم is dunyawi. They're worldly reasons. They don't have the قال الله قال الرسول. These are bughat.
Okay.
So you heard Abdul Rahman Hassan when explaining Ahlul Haqq. He says what they want is their haqq. And even, I think, Beavis or even Butthead, whoever you want to call Beavis or Butthead, he was even surprised. He goes, huh? What? He goes, it doesn't mean like the group from amongst the people of truth. He goes, no. It's just what they want their haqq. They just want their haqq. Now, I'm not even going to refute you on this. I'm going to let Bobs do the refuting. I'm going to let the other Salafi branch, which you've got a problem with, which you guys obviously, have a little, bickering between yourselves. I'm going to let them refute you, and then I'm going to follow up. Because what you just done there, mate, is absolutely diabolical, the way you just explained that. Honestly, I don't know, what was going through your mind and how you even justified it, because you didn't make any sense after that. And we're going to comment on that after. So, according to Abdul Rahman Hassan, al-haq means what they want is their haqq. So, Ibn Qudama al-Maqdisi splits those who do khuruj into 4 different categories. And the 4th category, as you can see on screen, qawmun min ahl al-haqqi. And I'm going to read on as well. So, people that are upon the truth. Rebelling, people on truth. So this video that I just played for you was a response to me by a channel affiliated with the Madakhila. Okay, they're Madakhilis obviously, but they're affiliated with Shamsi and DUS Da'wah. Now what they did, to be honest, let's be fair, they corrected me. Because the translation that I provided was incorrect. Now as you saw, the correct translation, okay, this is not from me by the way, this is from a channel that's affiliated with Shamsi, DUS Da'wah, Dar Sunnah. It's not even bro Hajji, they are responding to me and they actually corrected me. So the correct translation is, okay, a people from amongst what? The people of truth. They are a group. This is qawmun. So obviously qawmun, he didn't say qawmun, but he said they're ahlul haq. And when he was explaining ahlul haq, he said what they want is their haq. So ahlul haq, according to Rahman Hassan, which is not true, is he just basically lied. He made a translation up to fool his non-Arabic audience. And even the ones that probably do understand Arabic, they just basically wanted to just hear anything from him. So the madakhila, when they were responding to me because I didn't translate it correctly, yes, qawmun min al-haq, okay, a group from amongst the people of truth. So al-haq here, it doesn't mean what they want is their haq. It doesn't mean that at all. As you can see on screen, we've got the book Fathul Bari by Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani. And he's quoting Al-Ghazali. And Ibn Hajar is saying that basically there are two groups that rebel. But the second group is of two groups. And he mentions that the first of those two groups, meaning the second group, are those who rebel angrily for their religion due to the oppression of their leaders. And them not acting according to the sunnah, what are they? فَهَؤُلَاءِ أَهْلُ الْحَقِّ. And they are the people upon the truth. Okay? They are people upon the truth. Or you could say, a group of people. But it doesn't say qawmun. But if you want to say a group of people, that's fine. But look what he says. If we go by Abdurrahman Hassan's translation, they are the people that want their haqq. And amongst them is Al-Husayn bin Ali. And those from the people of Medina in Al-Harra, and those Qurra who rebelled, meaning wanting their haqq, against Hajjaj. So, they're coming back to me now. Now you know, Abdurrahman Hassan, that this passage here, Al-Haq here, doesn't mean those who want their haqq. They want their haqq. It means that they are amongst the people of truth. And amongst them, Husayn radiallahu anhu. So Abdurrahman Hassan, you know that translation there was diabolical, was absolute BS. You know that and I know that, the way you translated that. And I guarantee you, whoever's watching this, non-Arab, the ones that are learning Arabic and those who are Arab will say, hold on, how the hell did you translate that? So, فَهَؤُلَاءِ أَهْلُ الْحَقِّ. They are from amongst they are the people of truth. Or if you put qawmun in there, they are from amongst the people of truth. It doesn't mean they want their haqq. And then he mentions obviously that Husayn radiallahu anhu was from amongst the people of truth, or it was upon truth. Husayn radiallahu anhu was upon truth. According to you, he wasn't. According to you, he wasn't. You want to call him an innovator. I know you do. But obviously, you ain't got the bottle, have you? Then he says, those that rebelled of the people of Medina in Al-Harra, and the reciters that rebelled against Hajjaj. And then the second group, listen, and وَقِسْمٌ خَرَجُوا لِطَلَبِ الْمُلْكِ. That the second group, the one that sought what? Just for power, just to get power. And they rebel seeking authority only. Whether they had a doubt or not, they are bughat. So they are the bughat. Let's ask some countering questions now to see if this guy's consistent, to show you how flawed his explanation is. Obviously the PR system ain't none the wiser, is he? He's not the brightest fish in the sea. But let's ask some counter questions. So if I was to say now, those group of people there, those group of people I'm just pointing out of, they are qawmun min al-fadl. They are a group, the correct translation, and you know this as well, that they are a group who are the people of virtues. Al-fadl. According to you, that would mean that, those people there, they're the people that want virtues. Al-fadl, al-haq. Al-haq means they want their haq. So al-fadl means that they want fadl. Another example would be ahlul adl. Okay? Obviously the correct translation would be, which everyone knows, a beginner student in Arabic and those who are intermediate or even advanced will know that ahlul adl means the people of justice. Okay, the people of justice. According to you, if we use your example, that al-haq means that they want their haq, al-adl means that people that want justice. So if you say, okay, al-adl from today means that they want justice. They want justice. They're not the people of justice. They are wanting justice. So also, al-kirama, that the people of, honor. That's the correct translation, the people of honor. Okay? Or dignity, or respect, or however you want to translate it. But according to you, no, they want dignity. They want, you see how ridiculous it sounds. You see how you just play with the text and you play with the deen of Allah Azza wa Jal. Wallah al-Azim, you've got traits of the Yahud. You've got traits of the Yahud. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to play your clip back just to show the Muslims how you can't be trusted, mate. You are a fraud. You are a disingenuous, deceptive, hypocritical, super Salafi, box-headed. You can't think outside the box. And as I said, you know, to a certain extent, you're a narcissist. And I'm going to show you in the next clip how much of a narcissist you are. So let's play those clips again.
The first group are the Bughat.
Okay.
The Bughat are those who they are annahum ahlul haqq. They're ahlul haqq. And in the proof, ahlul haqq, meaning they are asking for what is their haqq.
That's what it means. Ahlul haqq. It doesn't mean they're the people of the truth.
No.
That they're doing a good thing. Ahlul haqq.
Ahlul haqq doesn't mean they're upon the truth. It just means what they are demanding and what they want is right. They've been wronged. They've been oppressed. They're asking, they want their rights. That's what they are. They're Ahlul Haqq.
But I have to ask you, how do you understand that? Because Ahlul Haqq can also mean the people of the truth, can it not?
No, what do you mean? Like
Ahlul Haqq.
So why does Allah tell us to fight with them? Why does Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala and the Messenger Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and the Ijma of the ummah and the scholars is that we fight with these people? I'm going to go into this.
Okay.
They are Ahlul Haqq, inshallah, meaning what they are asking for is legit. It doesn't oppose what the Sharia. For example, the government is just cutting their electricity. They're not giving them their rights. They're being starved. Etc. That's the first thing.
Okay.
Second reason is أن سبب خروجهم is dunyawi. They're worldly reasons. They don't have the قال الله قال الرسول. These are bughat.
Okay.
So Ibn Qudama al-Maqdisi splits those who do khuruj into 4 different categories. And the 4th category, as you can see on screen, قوم min ahl al-haqq. And I'm going to read on as well. So people that are upon the truth. Rebelling, people on truth. Heard. Okay, so basically ahl al-haqq means, my dear brothers, that they just wanted their haqq. They just wanted that. Ahl al-haqq doesn't mean the people of truth. It means the people that want haqq. The people that want their rights. That's what it means now. So al-adl means the people that just want justice. Al-qist means the people that just want justice. You know, al-adl also. Al-kirama, al-fadl. They want justice. They want virtues. They want respect. You know, all of these now, when you put al-bayt now, al-bayt means the people that, not of the household, the people of the household, it just means the people that want a house. The people that want accommodation. That's what it means. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to play the extract again where the PR assistant or the secretary asked him that, doesn't al-haqq mean the people of truth? Okay, if you had qawmun again, obviously means a group from amongst the people of truth. So, you know, Adiya's da'wah, even though he said a people from amongst the people of truth, where the arrow's over, the people of truth, not the people that want the truth or want their haqq. Yeah, it's ridiculous. So let's play the latter part now where he's saying that why does Allah ask us to fight with them? It's not fight with them, it's fight against them. You don't fight with the bughat, you fight against the bughat. And obviously bughat could be rebels or it could be transgressors. Let's listen to you first.
Because Ahlul Haqq can also mean the people of the truth, can it not?
No, what do you mean? Like
Ahlul Haqq.
So why does Allah tell us to fight with them? Why does Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala and the Messenger Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and the Ijma of the ummah and the scholars is that we fight with these people?
So you heard, okay? So he said, why does Allah ask us to fight with them? Not with them, mate, against them. Okay? So think again, you're so confused, you're trying to create so much lies and distortions that you're not even making any sense. So as you can see on screen, we've got the book Al-Mubdi'u Sharh al-Muqni' by Ibn Muflih. And under the chapter of Bab Qital al-Baghi, fighting the people of, or the rebels, or the transgressors, but you'll see what I mean. As you can see, he mentions, Ibn Muflih, he says that the hadith is known. And from amongst them, the hadith of Ubadah bin Samit, when the Prophet ﷺ, where he narrates that we pledge to the Messenger of Allah ﷺ to listen and obey in hard times and good times, etc. And we do not remove or relinquish our matter to those who are deserving of it, etc. And obviously it's إِلَّا تَرَوْا كُفْرٌ بَوَاحًا or كُفْرٌ بَوَاحًا. Then he says muttafaq alayh. Then he said this is agreed upon, meaning it is in Bukhari and Muslim. Then he mentioned that the Sahaba have united in fighting them, the rebels or the transgressors. And listen to this. فَإِنَّ أَبَا بَكْرٍ قَاتِلْ مَعَانِ الزَّكَاةِ. That Abu Bakr fought those who refused the zakat. So they are not the rebels, they are transgressors. But listen to this, with the arrows over. He mentions, وَعَلِيًّا قَاتِلْ الْجَمَلِ وَالْصَفِّينَ. That Ali fought the people of Jamal and the people of Siffin. Okay? Fought the people of Jamal and the people of Siffin. So coming back to me now. So, when we say Bughat, okay, when we say Bughat, the Bughat are split into different categories. And don't worry, part 3 will cover the whole, what you rely upon, that the Bughat and Mubtadi'ah. No one has said this before. You're just relying upon those quotes from Imam Ahmad and Ali al-Madini. We're going to get to that in part 3. But al-Baghi here, or the transgressors, were those the ones that refused to pay zakat. They are the transgressors. But the ones that Ali radhiyallahu anhu fought from al-Jamal and al-Safin, they're not transgressors. Anyone who says that has no adab. To call Talha bin Ubaidullah radhiyallahu anhu was Zubayr bin Awam, or Abdullah bin Zubayr, or Aisha radhiyallahu anha as transgressors. Of course they wasn't transgressors, they were rebels. Yes, you could class them as rebels. Okay, but they didn't even go out to fight. It was a protest. They went to protest against the killing of Uthman. They didn't go to fight. But let's not get into the story. So, as Ibn Muflih says, that under the chapter Al-Baghi, that the ones that refuse to pay zakat, they are transgressors. No doubt about it. They're transgressors because they transgressed the hudud of Allah Azza wa Jal by refusing to pay zakat. But Al-Jamal wa Al-Safin, they're not. So when you said, why did Allah command us to fight with them? You mean against them? That particular group of people, like you could say even was it Abu Musa al-Ash'ari and Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas didn't fight, didn't join in the fitna at all. They refused. So if you're saying Allah commanded to fight with them, meaning against them, are you saying that Talha ibn Ubaidullah and Zubayr ibn Awam should have been fought? Is that your argument? Let's carry on. So as you can see on screen, we've got the book Kitab Sharh Tahawiyah by Abdul Rahim As-Sulami. And as you can see, we've got his photo as well. This is the Sheikh Abdul Rahim As-Sulami. Now what he's done, he's basically explaining the different groups of people that rebelled against the rulers. So Abdul Rahim As-Sulami, I'm just going to pace through this. He mentions that those that rebel against the rulers are 3 groups. Okay, so the first group is Al-Khawarij. And who are they? وَهُمَ الَّذِينَ يُكَفِّرُونَ الْوَلَاةِ بِسَبَبِ الذَّمِّ مِنَ الظُّنُوبِ. That they make takfir upon the rulers because of sins. Okay, they make takfir because of sins. And then he mentions that they make takfir upon the Muslims, and they are the Khawarij who make takfir because of sins, and no doubt they are from Al-Bid'ah. And then he mentions that, as we mentioned before, we've clarified أنهم كلاب النار كما في الحديث, that as we made it clear that they are the dogs of the hellfire, as we mentioned before. So the second group that rebel are who? Are the highway robbers. And they rebel against the ruler, okay, if they have any power, because of creating fasad on the earth, okay? And they obviously, the ruling upon them are those of muharibin, and obviously their punishment, as the ayat says, obviously you cut off their hands and their feet in opposite directions, as per what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned. Now the third group, okay, the third group are the Bughat. And the Bughat are a group that have power, and they have obviously means to rebel against the ruler because of a ta'wil they have. Okay, and this ta'wil could be like he says, bisabab min al-asbab, because of many means. And he mentions as it could be oppression, because obviously he's disobedient, it's because he's tyrannical, and because he's sinful, and various reasons. Now Abdul Rahim As-Sulami now is going to explain the difference between the two. So he mentions وَهُنَاكَ فَرْقٌ بَيْنَ الْخَوَارِجِ وَبَيْنَ الْبُغَاةِ. He says the Khawarij are those that rebel and they make takfir of the people because of their sins. I said no doubt they are a group that are dalla mubtadi'ah. They are a misguided, innovative group. But as for the Bughat, it says فَأَمَّا الْبُغَاةِ فَهُمَ الَّذِينَ يَخْرُجُونَ وَهُمْ مِنْ أَهْلِ السُّنَّةِ. وَهُمْ مِنْ what? They're from Ahl Sunnah. Okay? You were saying that the Bughat, the classification or the Bughat, they're Mubtadi'ah. And because they have a ta'wil according to them. And Hafiz bin Hajar mentioned in the Fathul Bari, okay, that it's basically connected to the ayat in Surah Al-Hujurat, which obviously we mentioned before. Okay? So this is Abdul Rahim As-Sulami mentioned this in his book, Sharh Kitab or Sharh Kitab al-Tahawiyya or Aqidat al-Tahawi. So this is a consistent pattern we're having with Super Salafis, that they have no regard to transmit evidence sincerely. It's because they are people of desires. I call them people of desires because, as I've consistently highlighted for over 2 years, that they've got no regard, they've got no sincerity to transmit text accordingly. As I said, it's their time's up. Our years of manipulation, it's coming to an end. It's coming to an end. To further substantiate his arrogance, his narcissism, this video will shock you to your very core. Have a listen.
This led to the anger of the Muslims. And
not that I'm defending again Yazid, or I'm not for or against him. I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying that's not a true reality.
Sure.
He said, with his arrogance and his pride, yeah, look, I'm not for or against Yazid. What do you mean for or against Yazid? Of course we're against Yazid. He sacked Medina. He slaughtered the people of Medina. The Prophet ﷺ says, whoever places fear into the hearts of the people of Medina, may Allah curse him, the angels, and all of mankind. Of course we have got something against him. He was complicit in the murder of Hussein anhu. Yes, I didn't say he was involved directly, meaning where he ordered the killing, but he was definitely complicit. He didn't punish Ubaydullah bin Ziyad. There's no record of him mentioning, or there's no historical evidence or even narrations that mention that he punished Ubaydullah bin Ziyad. So, of course we are against him. Again, I'm not saying we curse him. I'm saying we are against him. Of course we're against him. But for you to say, oh, you know what, I'm not for or against him. No, I'm not for or against him. What are you talking about? Of course we're against him. But no. You're super Salafi, ain't you? Yeah, we could say that we're not against Yazid. That's fine. You keep that. No problem. I'm against him. For what he did to the people of Medina, and he slaughtered the people of Medina. And even to add on top of that, Rahman Hassan, in his reign, he catapulted the Kaaba. He was complicit in that. He sent the siege, or he organized the siege from Medina after they sacked Medina. Astaghfirullah al-Azim. After sacking Medina, look at this, subhanallah al-Azim. After sacking Medina, he ordered the army to go from there to Abdullah bin Zubair, who took over Mecca. So that's Khuruj, Abdullah bin Zubair, and all the ulama of the past said he did Khuruj, because he did it in the lifetime of Yazid, and he took over Mecca for himself. So he went to Mecca, and during his reign, he catapulted the Kaaba, meaning the rock hit they obviously threw it, and it hit the Kaaba, causing damage to the Kaaba.
The statement of Al-Ubbi, the Maliki, he has a kitab called Ikmal al-Mu'lim. He said, قتال والخروج عليهم حرام بالإجماع وقول بعض أصحابنا بأنه يعزل خطأ لأنه مخالف للإجماع. That's Ubbi's statement. And he refutes those people who say otherwise, who argue things like that.
So as you heard, Al-Ubbi, he mentioned Al-Ubbi said this, okay, clearly. And then he said, Ubbi, the haram bil ijma, and those who mukhalif al ijma, and Ubbi refutes them who say something. But hey, you're not convincing. You are a known distorter. You're a fraud. Because you know what I did? I bought the book, mate. I bought the book because I knew you were lying. And this is part of your 32, 33 names. I'm just showing you. This example here, I'm going to show you that you're a deceptive, disingenuous charlatan. And then this is going to be like you playing on your mind. So hold on here. Hajji's exposed me on this. And I mentioned 32, 33. Imagine what else he's got. You're not going to have sleepless nights after this. So now what we'll do is now show you the book. Show you the statement, and he's totally misconstrued the statement of an Ubbi. He didn't even follow up what Ubbi said, and it wasn't even Ubbi that mentioned this statement. Because you know why? There's a key word that he misses out all the time. All the time he misses it out. Because are we denying that there are certain people that claim the Ijma? For the record, Ubbi didn't claim the Ijma. Just to get that out there before I present it. Are we denying that certain scholars, declared that there's an ijma on khuruj? Yes, but it's wrong. It's a masala khilafiyah. This is wrong. We're not denying that people have said it, but it's not a binding ijma. It's not ijma mustaqir. You understand? So let's carry on. So as you can see, we've got the book Ikmal al-Mu'lim, okay, by Al-Ubbi, okay. this is the book. So here's the page. As you know, Abdul Rahman Hassan doesn't show you the book because he wants to distort it. That's why he doesn't want to present it on screen for you, because he's an absolute fraud, charlatan, distorter, manipulator. You know, he cannot be trusted. So let's now show you where the deception is, and we'll present his clip as well. So as you can see where the arrow is over, what does it say? وَقِيلَ. Ubbi is not saying this statement that he's Abdul Rahman Hassan alleged. Ubbi said it. Ubbi is not saying this. Ubbi is saying it is said. Abdul Rahman Hassan didn't start from here. You notice, and I'll show you where he started from. So he says, it is said that the khilaf in that, or that there was an agreement after that one shouldn't rise up. That one shouldn't rise up and fighting them. See where the arrow's over? So you see the whole passage here? Abdul Rahman Hassan, where the arrows over, starts from here. Okay? So let's just play it back.
The statement of Al-Ubbi, the Maliki, he has a kitab called إكمال المعلم. He said قتال والخروج عليهم حرام بالإجماع وقول بعض أصحابنا بأنه يعزل خطأ لأنه مخالف للإجماع. That's Ubbi's statement. And he refutes those people who say otherwise, who argue things like that.
So first of all, he even read it wrong. It's not قتالوا, it's قتالهم. He said qatalu. Oh my God. Look at the arrow where it's over. So he started from here. So as you see what he said before, وَقِيلَ. Al-Ubbi is not saying it. Al-Ubbi is saying it is said. And we'll show you what Ubbi says after. Because he says, قُلْتُ. Ubbi is saying this. We'll show you later. So he says, fighting them and doing khuruj. He says, وَالْخُرُوجُ عَلَيْهِمْ حَرَامٌ بِالْإِجْمَعِ وَقَوْلُ بَعْدَ أَصْحَابِنَا بِأَنَّهُ يُعْزَلْ خَطَأ لِأَنَّهُ مُخَالِفٌ لِلْإِجْمَعِ. So he said, this is what he quoted. So he says, so let's quote it all. So, وَقِيلَ, it is said that the khilaf in that, or that it was established, or there was a agreement after that, that one shouldn't rise up and fight and do khuruj against them. You notice he didn't read the one before. For khuruj against them, and it's haram bil ijma'. And the statement of some of our companions that he should be removed is a mistake because he opposes the ijma'. And then what did he say? He said, and Ubbi then refutes those who say otherwise. Let's listen.
That's Ubbi's statement. And he refutes those people who say otherwise, who argue things like that.
You see? So let's see what Ubbi actually said. Okay, let's see what Ubbi actually said. So he said, وَالْمُرَادُ بِالْكُفْرِ فِي الْحَدِيثِ الْمَعْصِيَةِ. He says that the murad of kufr here, because it's explaining the hadith, إِلَّا أَن تَرَوْا كُفْرًا بَوَاحًا. He's sort of explaining that. So he said the murad of kufr in this hadith means sin. This is what Al-Ubbi is saying. Okay, Ubbi is saying this. So he said, except that if you see something munkar that which is established proof, عندكم من الله فيه برهان, that you have a proof from Allah Azza wa Jalla, meaning from the Quran, and obviously you could obviously use the Sunnah as well. And is that you know, meaning that you know that from the qawaid al-shar', from the principles of the Sharia. Then he says, if you see that, then reject it from them. And then he says, listen to this, where the arrow's over. Look at Abdul Rahman Hassan, so much distortion in this one passage, and he didn't even quote it. He only quoted like the first part. He says, look, now Al-Ubbi saying, وَأَمَّا الْخُرُوجُ عَلَيْهِمْ. And as for khuruj against them and fighting them bin haram, look what he says where the arrow's over, the other arrow. He says, قُلْتُ, is I said. Now Al-Ubbi is speaking. Now Al-Ubbi is reiterating what he believes. Okay? Prior to that he says, وَقِيلَ. You see where the arrow's over? All the arrows, look where. SubhanAllah al-Azim, distorter. So what did Al-Ubbi say? It is not hidden from you. Listen to this. It is not hidden from you. After holding kufr to be a sin, and the revolt of Hussein and Ibn Zubair, verily their revolt was a result of Yazid's sinfulness, not kufr. Revolt. You see that? You argue that they did not do khuruj. Al-Ubbi is saying the complete opposite of you, whereas he's agreeing with me. This man be trusted? Can this man be trusted, brothers and sisters? Look how much deception in this one paragraph Al-Ubbi. He didn't quote what was before. He didn't quote what was after. And when he said Al-Ubbi was refuting those, more like he refuted you. If you would have read, he's refuting you, mate. Allahu Akbar. Honestly, you are a fraud. Honestly, this one passage you were trying to use, and this is leading up to Trainwreck Part 3. I'm just showing you, you mentioned 32, 33 names. This one name that you mentioned, Al-Ubbi, mate, you lied. You didn't even quote the book. You just skipped, like you missed the first half. You went to the second, quoted like like a bit of a sentence from there and then ignore the rest. Allahu Akbar, this is shocking. Honestly, it's shocking. Now, let's carry on his deceit, because this video is highlighting his deceit and his deception. Train Rec Part 3 will cover the 33 names of the Ijma, show you that there's no Ijma because of the definition of Ijma. We're going to go into that properly and just debunk him once and for all. Let's have a listen.
Here, and always kalam rahimahullah ta'ala is in the context of when he's talking about la ma sallu, leaving the salah. Leaving the salah is changing qawa'id al-Islam. The biggest thing to change the religion. It is, after you said ashhadu la ilaha illallah ashhadu Muhammadur Rasulullah, what is greater than salah? What is greater than? We're saying you've left the fold of Islam, you've changed the deen of Islam.
So he's actually talking about a ruler who becomes...
That's the hadith, right? It says, la ma sallu. Leaving the salah is the greatest thing of a person changing the qawa'id al-Islam.
Yeah. Beautiful. Okay.
You've left the fold of Islam, you changed the religion of Islam. What? Let's listen to that again.
Here, and always kalam rahimahullah ta'ala is in the context of when he's talking about la ma sallu, leaving the salah. Leaving the salah is changing qawa'id al-Islam. The biggest thing to change the religion. It is, after you said ashhadu la ilaha illallah ashhadu Muhammadur Rasulullah, what is greater than salah? What is greater than? We're saying you've left the fold of Islam, you've changed the deen of Islam.
So he's actually talking about a ruler who becomes...
That's the hadith, right? It says la ma sallu. Leaving the salah is the greatest thing of a person changing the qawa'id al-Islam.
Yeah. Beautiful. Okay.
So now what we're going to do is we're going to present the quotes and we're going to show you that this man is taking all of you for a ride. Because basic Arabic, we're going to go to Lisan al-Arab, we're going to show you ghayyira, we're going to show you the quotes first, and then we're going to show you what Lisan al-Arab said. What does ghayyira mean? Because you can't apply that. You can't say that leaving the salat is changing the qawaid al-Islam. How is leaving the salat changing the qawaid al-Islam? You've left the fold of Islam, you've changed the religion of Islam. Honestly, this is just ridiculous. Anyway, as you can see on screen, then Imam Nawawi comments and he says, La ma sallu means that those who proceeded, that it's not permissible to rebel against the khulafa due to their oppression and their fisq. Ma lam yughayyiru shay'an min qawaid al-Islam, provided they don't change anything. Look, yughayyiru, change anything from the qawaid al-Islam. Also, we got Al-Awasim wal-Qawasim by Ibn Wazir al-Yamani Mujtahid. He mentioned that قال عياد وحجة الجمهور أن قيامهم على حجاج ليس بمجرد الفسق. He says that the evidence from the majority of those who rose up against Hajjaj is not because of just his sins. Not because of his sins. Why? بل لما غير من الشرع, because they changed the Sharia. Hajjaj changed the Sharia. Okay? وأظهر من الكفر, and then he made his kufr apparent. And then also you got obviously Al-Awasim wal-Qawasim. Qadi Iyad obviously says لو طرى عليه الكفر, that if he presents to us kufr, أو تغير للشرع, that he changes. So you see, يغير غير تغير. So you see غير, and you see that to change the Sharia, or bid'ah, or he presents as bid'ah. خرج عن حكم الولاية. Lisan al-Arab by Ibn Mandur. What does غير mean? Subhanallah. According to Ibn Mandur, he says to change something from its original state, the thing that once was. Okay? For the thing that once was. So basically, Ibn Mandur, according to the Arabic language, that تغير or غير means to change something from its original state. Okay? And to replace it for something that was there originally. Okay? This is according to Ibn Mandur. So back to you now. Okay? So back to me now. So just to add, okay, when you said, and I'm going to play your clip back, that to leave the salat is changing the religion. Mate, that is nonsense. And again, you lied, okay, when it comes to Al-Ubbi. Now let's listen to him first, obviously explain the story of Hussein anhu. When asked by the PR assistant regarding, like, where did you get this information from? He mentions obviously Ibn Kathir, and the key words I want you to know is great details. Okay, I checked it in great details, and what we're going to do is we're going to show you when we found, or we exposed his deceit and his absolute, he plays with words. He's such a narcissist that he tries to justify his deceit. which is shocking. So let's listen to him first from his podcast, and then we'll follow up. You'll know exactly what I mean or what I'm trying to get to as we continue this on. Have a listen.
What were the main sources, the main books you used to come up with that information? What were the books that you went into?
The main source would be Al-Bidayah wa Nihaya. Ibn Kathir rahimahullah ta'ala, he mentions it in great details.
Okay, so when he presented the story of Hassan anhu from his embarrassing podcast, okay, the PR assistant, the secretary asked him, where did you get your quote from? And he goes, look, the main story, the main bulk of where I got this information from Ibn Kathir in Al-Bidayah wa Nihaya, and he checked it in great details. Okay, so great detail. So great detail. So what I want to show you now is before showing you the part of what Ibn Kathir mentioned. He mentioned it in probably about 30-40 pages, but I'm just going to show you about 10. Great details. What does great details mean? So I just want to get to the definition first. What does great detail mean? Okay, great detail, not great details. Okay, so great detail. What does that mean? As you can see on screen, in great detail, as you can see, okay, means thoroughly. Okay, thoroughly. That's what in great detail means. From every perspective. Okay, and it also means with elaboration. Okay, with elaboration. So it means thoroughly from every perspective and with elaboration. That's what great details mean. As you can see on screen, we've got Al-Bidayah wa Nihaya, and I'm just going to show you, because he mentioned that Ibn Kathir mentioned in great details, I'm going to show you what great detail means. What does he mean by that? Because it means it's extensive, it's written in many pages, it goes into it in great detail, and as it obviously mentioned, that is according to the definition, it's thoroughly with elaboration. That's what it means. So look, I'm just going through it because there's so many different pages. As you can see, it starts off, and I'm carrying on, I'm just showing you in great details. Okay, there you go, carry on, great details. Look at that, Ibn Kathir is going in great details, as he said, thoroughly from every perspective and with elaboration, and to look into a problem in great details. Look, carrying on. Look at Ibn Kathir just mentioning it. The story is continuous, and this is only 10 pages, by the way. It goes into 20 or 30, but I'm just giving you a brief example. There you go, look at that. How many pages am I going through? Ibn Kathir mentioned it in great detail. Abdul Rahman Hassan is right, great detail, continuing, look at that, great detail. Okay, so we've got that out the way now. He did that in great detail. Now what I'm going to do, okay, so now we know in great detail means thoroughly. Okay, we're going to play back the original clip, okay, where we caught him out. Now what's funny is that he has two opportunities, and he doesn't even quote it correctly again, because the whole athar he misses out. It's not authentic, but even then he doesn't even quote the main part where Abdullah bin Mas'ud mentioned what he mentions, but the reason why he mentioned it is because of a statement from the Prophet ﷺ. But he doesn't even mention that. That's how deceptive he is. He's half baking, half quoting narrations, and he's just using that. But if he was to read it all, it would have shown partiality. He's a fraud. So now let's listen to him when we caught him out, because he mentions the actual word or term, great detail. Let's listen to it.
Also, the Prophet ﷺ, he told us in a hadith, Imam al-Tabarani narrated in his Mu'jam al-Kabir, he narrated it, Hafid al-Iraqi in his kitab al-Mughni an Haml al-Asfar, he said in kitab al-Sabr, أخرجه الطبراني بإسناد لا بأس به. Hafid al-Iraqi said this, that there's no harm inshallah ta'ala in this narration. Hafid al-Iraqi. And I have followed up the narration, I've looked at it in great details. Inshallah ta'ala it's sahih. It is sahih. Where the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said to the companions, Hadith al-Walid ibn Uqbah, Abdullah ibn Mas'ud mentioned this when they complained to him about al-Walid ibn Uqbah. He said, Isbiru, be patient. فَإِنَّ جَوْرَ إِمَامٍ خَمْسِينَ عَامًا خَيْرٌ مِنْ هَرَجِ شَهْرٍ. Pay attention here. Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, Sahabiyun Jalil, said, Isbiru, be patient. فَإِنَّ جَوْرَ إِمَامٍ, the oppression of a leader, خَمْسِينَ عَامًا, 50 years, for a Muslim leader to be oppressive for 50 years, خَيْرٌ, it is better than مِنْ هَرَجِ شَهْرٍ, مِنْ هَرْجِ شَهْرٍ, than the blood spill and the killing of 1 month. That's a noble Sahabi who's advising us, every Muslim.
So you heard, okay, so you heard him say, he checked this in great details, okay, and obviously he quoted part of the athar. We're going to show you the full narration to show you that he didn't even quote it all. So now what we're going to do is show you when he was pulled up by the PR secretary or the PR assistant. watch his response and look at his arrogance to try to justify that he checked it in great detail. Now we've already showed you the definition of in great detail, which actually means thoroughly with every perspective. Watch his response.
And the people were not happy with Al-Walid ibn Uqba and what he was doing. Al-Walid ibn Uqba ibn Abi Mu'aytin. They were not pleased with him. And the people, they all ran to Abdullah ibn Mas'ud. Abdullah ibn Mas'ud said to them, Isbiru, be patient. فَإِنَّ جَوْرَ إِمَامٍ 50 عَامًا, a leader for 50 years, خَيْرٌ مِّنْ هَرْجِ شَهْرٍ, it is better than the bloodshed of 1 month. And this hadith Imam al-Tabarani narrated in his Mu'jam al-Kabir, Ibn Asakir in his Tarikh, and Al-Iraqi authenticated it in his Takhrij Ahadithi al-Ihya. And he said, Al-Iraqi, he said, رواه الطبراني في الكبير بإسناد لا بأس به.
Yeah, I have a question on this particular narration actually, because it's something that they picked up on as well. And they said that in this chain, and you said you actually looked into a lot on another video, you said you looked into it in detail.
نعم, I did. تفضل.
In this chain, there's a narrator called Wahbullah bin Rizq Abu Huraira al-Misri. And it says he was the only narrator of this hadith. Ibn Hajar al-Haythami says, I haven't seen his biography, i.e. I don't know who he is. So how can this narration be authentic if this individual is unknown? And I have the Arabic here as well.
Don't say it's unknown. Don't say it's unknown. And Haythami just said, I don't know.
Yes,
he said it in Mujma' al-Zawaid wa Manba' al-Fawaid, right?
I don't know where it is, but this is the Arabic. But they say that if Ibn Hajar al-Haythami didn't know him, then he's unknown and therefore he can't be used.
No, that's what I'm saying to you. One Imam might say, I don't know him. He's talking about, he didn't say it's not known. He said, I don't know it, right? That's what you said, right?
Just check the Arabic there, see what he said.
He said, Lam ara, I haven't seen. Man dhakara lahu tarjama. Anyone who mentioned his biography. I'm saying Ibn Hajar's teacher, Zainuddin al-Iraqi. I'm talking about Al-Imam Zainuddin al-Iraqi, the teacher of Hafidh ibn Hajar, is saying to you, رواه الطبراني في الكبير بإسناد لا بأس به, with a chain that there's no harm in it. Okay? So if one negates it, and one affirms it, the qaida is al-muthbit muqaddamun ala al-nafi. The one who affirms it takes precedence over the one who negates.
No, so he's a teacher of the student.
No, Iraqi is the teacher of Hafidh ibn Hajar.
Okay.
Imamun fil hadith.
Yeah.
He's the author of the Kitab Alfiyat al-Iraqi, right? The Nadm. The Sakhawi explaining Kitab Fath al-Mughith. So, by the way, I'll tell you this argument. I know where it came from. So I don't even want to mention where it was taken from. Okay. Also, the Prophet ﷺ, he told us in a hadith, Imam al-Tabarani narrated in his Mu'jam al-Kabir, he narrated it, Hafidh al-Iraqi, in his Kitab al-Mughni an Haml al-Asfar, he said in Kitab al-Sabr, أخرجه الطبراني بإسناد لا بأس به. Hafidh al-Iraqi said this, that there's no harm, inshaAllah ta'ala, in this narration. Hafidh al-Iraqi. And I have followed up the narration, I've looked at it in great details. InshaAllah ta'ala, it's sahih. It is sahih.
So as you heard, obviously his explanation, you could see that, like he was angry.
Yeah, I have a question on this particular narration actually, because it's something that they picked up on as well. And they said that in this chain, and you said you actually looked into a lot on another video, you said you looked into it in detail.
No, I did.
And he was trying to justify, and to be honest, he made it worse for himself. So don't worry, we're gonna tie you in knots today, son. We're gonna tie you in knots today to show you you're a fraud, you're a hypocrite. You have no regard for transmission. You've got no regard for your audience. You've got no regard for the believers. You just want to, like I said before, you're a narcissist, mate. You're a narcissist. So let's carry on. Let's ask some questions now. Okay, before we get to he didn't quote the hadith properly. We'll get to that after. But I just want to ask you some questions now. In great detail means thoroughly from every perspective with elaboration. You've just admitted now you didn't check it. You just admitted you got Hafidh al-Iraqi, you're the teacher of Ibn Hajar. Hold on, mate. You can't just say, after quoting by saying Hafidh al-Iraqi, and we're going to play it back, Hafidh al-Iraqi authenticated, and it says that isnad as la ba'sa bi, he has no problem with it, okay? And then you said, I followed it up. I followed it up. Are you stupid or something? Look, again, you just utter words for the sake of it. I want to play it back. You said in the original clip, now you're changing your stance because you didn't check it. You just admitted it. You said, I followed up the narration and I checked it in great detail. I checked it in great detail. So two key words we've got here now. I followed it up So it means that you've gone into it thoroughly, in great detail, as per the explanation, as you can see on screen, in great detail, thoroughly from every perspective with elaboration. So you said, I followed it up and I checked it in great details. Okay. So let's listen to you mention that first.
حافظ العراقي, and I have followed up the narration. I've looked at it in great details. Inshallah ta'ala, it's sahih. It is sahih.
So there you go. I followed it up and I checked it in great details. From your response, mate, you didn't check it up. Because you just said, half of the Iraqi said it. But you said, I followed it up. So what did you follow up? You didn't follow up nothing. Because now we're going to go through the chain. Because if you said one Imam negated it, because Ibn Hajar al-Haythami says, I haven't seen anyone mention his biography. So, after the Iraqi says that this isnad has no problem, you followed it up and checked it in great details. So now I need to know, why is this hadith authentic? And other than Hafidh al-Iraqi, okay, because you're relying upon him, you followed it up and checked it in great details. Can you now explain, this narrator here is an unknown. He is unknown. So you're saying it's authentic. Now this is the hadith of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You didn't even mention. Now let's go to the hadith now, because this fraud didn't even present the hadith. He had two opportunities after being corrected, showing him that the hadith is not even authentic. He's saying, no. Hafidh al-Iraqi said you said you followed it up. And you said you checked it in great details. So let's present the hadith, because you didn't even present the hadith correctly as well. Oh my God, this is like from bad to worse. Is this what you call knowledge? Let's go into it now. So as you can see on screen, we've got the book Mu'jam al-Kabir by Imam al-Tabarani. And here's the hadith now. Listen to this. He didn't even quote the hadith in its entirety. And this is hadith number 10,210. He mentions, just to summarize, that when the people rejected Walid ibn Uqba ibn Abi Mu'ayt, that the people panicked and went to Abdullah ibn Mas'ud. And Abdullah ibn Mas'ud said to them, be patient, for indeed the oppression of the Imam for 50 years is better than killing for 1 month. Okay? So the oppression of the Imam for 50 years is better than, discord and killing for 1 month. Then he said, listen to this, he didn't even quote this, that's where the arrows over. He says that I heard the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. See, he's quoting the hadith now. Abdul Rahman Hassan didn't even quote that. He says, I heard the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wasallam say that it is imperative that the people have rulers that are righteous and that they are transgressors, okay, or violators. Now as for the righteous ruler, that his righteousness is split, okay, between you and him, okay, so basically it's split, in goodness. But he said, as for the transgressor, then you are tested, okay, and amongst them are believers, and the rulership of the one that's transgressive, okay, the rulership of one that's transgressive is better than haraj, okay. And then they said to the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, what is haraj? I'm sure there's a typo there. It says al-qul. I'm sure that says al-qatl. But anyway, it says killing and lying. Okay, killing and lying. So now, as you just saw, I presented the full narration. The full narration. He didn't quote it. Twice he half-baked the narration. Twice he done that. He had ample opportunity to correct himself. He's reading from the screen behind him, and even the screen didn't have the full narration. Why? Because it's from websites and forums. So now I ask you, I followed this up and I checked this in great details. You didn't check it. You didn't check it. You lied. You didn't check this in great details. And you said, but Hafidh al-Iraqi, the teacher of Ibn Hajar. Well, hold on here, mate. You just relied on that one person. So when you said, I checked this in great detail, the definition of great detail means what? It means thoroughly from every perspective with elaboration. You did not check this thoroughly, mate. You did not check this from every perspective. So when you said, I followed this up and I checked this in great details, meaning great detail, you just relied upon Hafidh al-Iraqi. So I'm going to play back now the first clip at the start, and then I'm going to play back the second clip, which when we caught him out. The hadith is da'if. It's da'if. And obviously, I'll just skip through it, obviously, just to show you, just to refresh your memory. We've got Ibn Hajar al-Haythami mentioned. What did he say? After mentioning, obviously, the hadith of Ibn Abbas, He obviously mentions Wahb bin Rizq. He says, قلت ولم أرى من ذكر له ترجمة. He goes, I have not seen, okay, anyone that mentioned his biography. So coming back to me, I'd like to ask you now, can you present, okay, because you followed this up and checked this in great details, can you present someone that has mentioned his biography? I present a challenge to you now, okay? Because you followed it up and checked it in great details, which you didn't, you lied. Now I'm giving you the opportunity now, because as I said, you relied on half of the Iraqi. It's clear, you lied. Now I'm going to ask you to give me, even Hajji al-Haythami, Muhaddith, is saying, I haven't seen anyone that mentions his biography. Lam ara. I haven't seen anyone that mentions his biography. So even Hajji al-Haythami says, so unless you have seen something that he hasn't, because you followed this up and checked it in great details, I'd love for you to present it. Okay? I'd love for you to present it, but you're a liar. You're a fraud. Okay? So now we've cleared that. Okay? You see how the deceit and the deception, I'm just getting warmed up. I'm just, showing you, presenting to you that this man can't be trusted. How can this man get away with all of this deceit, deception, fraud? So there's a consistent pattern here that you are a mudallis. You are a distorter. Okay? You are a person that distorts stuff and you cannot be trusted.
حافظ ابن ملقن الشافعي he said كل من خرج على إمام الحق الذي اتفق الجماعة سمي خارجيا سواء كان في زمن الصحابة أو بعدهم. And he took the statement from who? Shahrastani. So Ibn Mulaqqin al-Shafi'i is saying the statement of what? Shahrastani. So he's saying that anyone who goes against the trust Imam leader, who the people have agreed upon his leadership, that person is going to be called a Khariji. Whether they are at the time of the Sahabas, meaning the people who did khuruj at the time of the Sahabas, or those who came after.
So as you heard, he was transmitting a statement. You see the pattern here, he can't transmit correctly, can he? He's a distorter. He can't take what he says seriously. And he's doing it again. And this is from his Ijma. That he said that the Ijma 33 names. And again, I've already quoted Al-Ubbi. Now this is now Ibn al-Mulaqqin. And he quoted Imam al-Shahrastani. And subhanAllah, distortion yet again. So, he mentioned a statement from Ibn al-Mulaqqin. First point, he read it wrong. Okay, he read it wrong again. And number two, if you would have known the reality of this statement, what chapter it was, who the Imams were referring to, again, it would have been clear as night and day. But once again, he doesn't check the book. He doesn't read from the books. He reads from forums and websites and gets his neo-Salafi narrative from secondary sources, from those who are obviously Salafis like him, Salafis like him, quote unquote. So let's now present these statements to show you that this man is, and I keep saying it, he's a fraud. As you can see on screen. As you can see, we've got the passage here that he quoted. Now, first of all, he read it wrong. He said, Summiya kharijiyan. No, it's alayhi yusamma kharijiyan. So you read it wrong. Okay. So the screen malfunction behind you. Summiya. Where did it say Summiya? Says, and it says alayhi. So that anyone that rebels against the rightful Imam, who the people agreed upon, okay, yusamma kharijiyan. Alayhi yusamma kharijan, summiya kharijan. Really wrong. Anyway, so it says, regardless, even if they in the time of the companions or after them, as it's been narrated in Shahrastani fi nihlihi. So now what we're going to do is, okay, what we're going to do now is that we're going to show you that if this man was sincere, he would have known that the actual, because al-Shahrastani, Imam Ibn al-Mulaqqin is transmitting from Imam al-Shahrastani. Okay, I've got the book. So if you would have went to this book and you went to the chapter where this quote was, okay, who was he talking about? Who was he talking about? Abdul Rahman Hassan? Who were the group of people that or Imam al-Shahrastani was referring to? Okay, as you can see on screen, we've got the book Al-Milal wa Nihl by Imam al-Shahrastani, and as you can see where the arrow's over, the group of people that Imam al-Shahrastani was referring to, and even Ibn al-Mulaqqin al-Shafi'i was referring to, and I'm going to show you the chapter heading of his book as well, which he forgot to mention, Abdul Rahman Hassan, again, distorter, is Al-Khawarij. It's talking about who? Al-Khawarij. Subhanallah al-Azim. And there's a distortion right there. He didn't even check that the group of people that Imam al-Shahrastani was referring to, because the chapter heading is referring about Al-Khawarij. So he said Al-Khawarij. Then he mentioned the major groups amongst them, Al-Mahkama, Al-Azraqa, etc. Then he says that they all unite. They all unite. All of these major groups of Al-Khawarij. That they unite of dissociation from Uthman radiallahu anhu and Ali radiallahu anhuma, and they did not obviously agree with their rule. And then he mentions that, look, they make, with arrows over, they make takfir for those who make or commit major sins, and they viewed khuruj against the imam who opposes the sunnah haqqan wajiban. That those al-Khawarij, which this is the chapters about al-Khawarij, that they viewed that anyone, they made takfir of the people that committed major sins, and they viewed and they saw that khuruj was basically wajib against the imam who opposed the sunnah. Because of the issue between, because of the tahkim, they gathered in a place called al-Hurura. But I'm saying, just going back to the point, coming back to me now. Now, the al-Milal wa Nihal. Just to add, this, we're going to play the video back again. The intent of Ibn al-Mulaqqin al-Shafi'i was placing it, because this is a sharaf Imam Muslim, he was placing it under the chapter of Al-Khawarij, as you can see on screen. Page 553. There you go. So this is what referring to Al-Khawarij, which you conveniently ignored, and you try to pass it off as if it was referring to just general khuruj. It was exclusive. Imam Shahrastani placed it under the chapter of Al-Khawarij. And as you read, he mentioned about those who make takfir for major sins. So when you presented that quote, again, as part of your 32, 33 names, mate, it was about Al-Khawarij. So again, another distortion that you try to pass to the people, and it's been utterly exposed. We've unveiled it and uncovered your deceit, and we've got plenty more to do as well. Let's have a listen to Abdul Rahman Hassan.
From this, you can take that just speaking against a leader like that could lead to this issue of khuruj, or it is considered. Shaykh Ibn Uthaymeen, Shaykh Salih al-Fawzan, they all mention that this is khuruj. It's all khuruj, so it's dangerous. Be careful what you say.
But as you heard, he mentions that basically speaking is khuruj, because Ibn Uthaymeen, rahmatullah alayhi, and Shaykh Fawzan said it's obviously khuruj, so it's khuruj. Now we're going to show you now. Okay, I'm just getting a bit of wire out. Just go for my jacket. So we're going to show you now that this man just contradicts himself in the same podcast. So shocking, it's unbelievable. And what we'll also do is we'll play back what he said before, because what he did is he moves the goalpost. We'll show you, like he did with the Ibn Hajar al-Haythami one. We'll show you that this man consistently moves the goalpost. So you heard him say that speaking is khuruj, is dangerous, because Ibn Uthaymeen and Al-Fawzan said that it's khuruj. Now what we're going to do, I'm going to show you his clip prior to obviously this podcast, and we're going to show you that he goes as far as saying that speaking against the ruler, just moving your tongue, would result in you becoming a Khariji because of Dhul Khawaisara, because he spoke against the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And then we're going to show you again in the same podcast that this man contradicts himself again. It's just, honestly, you couldn't even write it. Let's have a listen.
Against the leaders are what? Khawarij. Even if they protest against the leader. Protest. I'm going to bring inshallah ta'ala when we come regarding the shubuhat. When we come regarding the shubuhat, we will inshallah ta'ala bring the kalam of Ibn Uthaymeen. That going against the leader doesn't mean by sword or weapon only. Even if you go against him by statement. Because the first Khariji was who? The first Khariji who came out with the Prophet, he said to the Prophet, "I'dil fa innaka lam ta'dil." Who was the first Khariji? The head of the Khawarij. Dhu Khuwaisira did not take a sword. He said to the Prophet, "Be just." He went against the Prophet by statement. "I'dil Muhammad fa innaka lam ta'dil." He's the first person who brought the mentality of protesting, uprising against the leader.
Many months later,
Openly criticizing the rulers, and obviously you said many times that you take your religion upon the understanding of the Salaf. We have here a statement in Sahih Muslim 873, قَبَّحَ اللَّهُ هَاتَيْنِ الْيَدَيْنِ.
We're talking about Bishr ibn Marwan when he was doing the khutbah.
Correct, yes.
And he made dua, and then Umarat ibn Ru'ayba, he said قَبَّحَ اللَّهُ هَاتَيْنِ الْيَدَيْنِ.
Exactly.
مَا رَأَيْتُ النَّبِيَّ صلى الله عليه وسلم يزيد في الخطبة إذا دعا على أن يشير بالسبابة. Again, it's in front of him.
Yeah, but it's not even advice. It's dua against him. It's like, oh, may Allah disfigure these hands.
The way he said, I told you before, and if he's nice, and the way he approaches that he takes, and is the masalih going to weigh it? Is the mafasid going to weigh? That's another issue. The point that he did it to him in front of his face. That's what I want to focus on. How he does it, that's another discussion.
So as you heard, okay, so so first clip was that speaking against the ruler is khuruj, okay, and then he said that obviously in the clip probably a few years ago, he says that obviously because Dhul Khuwaisra, that he spoke against the Prophet, so he brought the mentality of protesting. Subhanallah. We present the incident of Bishr bin Marwan, and he said, oh, you know what, no, that's not khuruj, because it doesn't, he did it in front of his face. So hold on, let me just step back. And then he contradicts himself again in the same podcast. This is a joke. So first you argued that speaking against him is khuruj. Then we presented the other clip years ago. You said even speaking, moving your tongue, you're a khariji. Then you flipped, you shifted the goalpost, and you said, no, he did it in front of his face. He did it in front of his face. That's okay. It doesn't matter about, the tone or whatever. Because he did it in front of his face, he spoke against the rule in front of his face, he's no longer a khariji no more. And he don't fit the criteria of being from the khawarij due to the fact that now he did it in front of his face. So the goalposts have changed. You see? The goalposts have changed now. So they've moved it. First is speaking and the protesting. So if we use your argument based on what you just said here, we're going to play another one in a sec, but just using this particular, I got my laptop here as well, so that's why I keep pointing that way. But if we use your now argument in this particular clip, Astaghfirullah, Dhul Khuwaisra didn't do anything. Astaghfirullah, I'm just using your stupid logic that Dhul Khuwaisra didn't do anything wrong either, because he said it in front of the Prophet. You look what he said about it doesn't matter how he says it about the approach, he did it in front of the Prophet's face. So according to your logic, Dhul Khuwaisra is not a khariji anymore. So now we're going to show you another clip which is exactly what we're saying, but now you shift the goalpost another place now. Have a listen.
So the issue of if a father, his son is the leader, and he stands up and he says, wrong what you did. It's different. The dynamics is going to be different than when the Amatul Nas do it. By the way, it doesn't make it khuruj, even if the person is harsh with the leader, but in front of his face.
Okay.
It's not khuruj. You are now, if you live to see the next day, that's alhamdulillah. If you're not, then you fall under the statement of the Prophet, أفضل الجهاد كلمة حق عند سلطان جاهل. You said the truth. Alhamdulillah, you did say the truth. Even if you say it harshly.
Okay. So you just see what just happened now. So now even if you say it harshly in front of him no more, it's not khuruj. In the same podcast. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play the first clip where he said in this podcast, in the same sitting in the same seat, he said speaking against him. Leave the one a few years back. Speaking against him, okay, is khuruj because Ibn Uthaymeen and Al-Fawzan said it. Okay, that's the first clip in the same podcast. Then I'm going to play the same one I just played now where he said, you know what, even if you speak against him harshly, it's not khuruj. So play it again.
From this you can take that just speaking against a leader like that could lead to this issue of khuruj, or it is considered. Shaykh Ibn Uthaymeen, Shaykh Salih Al-Fawzan, they will mention that this is khuruj. It's all khuruj, so it's dangerous. Be careful what you say.
Many months later.
So the issue of if a father, his son is the leader, and he stands up and he says, wrong what you did. It's different. The dynamics is going to be different than when the Amatul Nas do it. By the way, it doesn't make it khuruj, even if the person is harsh with the leader, but in front of his face.
Okay.
It's not khuruj. You are now, if you live to see the next day, that's alhamdulillah. If you're not, then you fall under the statement of the Prophet, أفضل الجهاد كلمة حق عند سلطان جاهل. You said the truth. Alhamdulillah, you did say the truth. Even if you say it harshly.
You see? So now, saying it in front of the face is okay, even if it's harshly, it's not khuruj. But prior to Fawzan, Shaykh Al-Fawzan said that, speaking against the ruler is khuruj. But then after it wasn't khuruj. Now we're going to show you is because of this, okay, we're going to show you because of this, reliance on contemporary shuyukh who are unfortunately, and again I said I did my visiting the rulers video, as you can see on screen, you could go check that out. That's very, very clear what the Salaf's position was of those who, frequently visit the tyrannical rulers, that the Salaf didn't have a good opinion of them, but they'll mysteriously ignore all of these athar from the Salaf, which they treat like revelation. But hey ho, they shift the goalposts. Nothing surprising, nothing is shocking to us, especially after the 2 years worth of expose. So what we're going to do now is we're going to present a clip from Sheikh Ibn Uthaymeen rahmatullah alayhi. But what we're going to highlight is, and again, we want to make issue a disclaimer that, look, the Sheikh is like any other Sheikh. We take what's correct and we leave what's incorrect. That's with everyone, apart from the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, because he's ma'soom. So let's play Sheikh Ibn Uthaymeen.
لو كان ولي الأمر فاسقا يشرب الخمر ويزني ويلوح ويظلم ويفعل كل منكر إلا الكفر فإنه لا يجوز الخروج عليه.
So as you heard, Sheikh Ibn Uthaymeen rahmatullah alayhi mentioned that, look, if a ruler drinks khamar, does all sorts of fawahish, even performs the actions of Qawm Lut, that is impermissible to do khuruj against him, apart from if he shows kufr. So what I'm going to show you now is that even in the time of the Salaf, that if you have such a ruler, and again it's all based upon ijtihad and based upon means and power, but ultimately if you've got such a ruler like that, he's not fit for power. And if you've got the ability to remove him, get rid of him. Simple. Get rid of him. And we're going to show you now that there was a Khalif. Okay, we're not talking about these installed puppets that we have today. During the times of the Salaf, there was a Caliph by the name of Walid bin Yazid bin Abdul Malik. This Caliph was indulging in many of those fawahish that Ibn Uthaymeen rahmatullah alayhi mentioned. So he said that except if he commits all of these until he shows kufr, you can't rebel against him. We've got the book Tarikh al-Islam, Tarikh al-Islam by Imam al-Dahabi. It's mentioned that by others, Imam al-Dahabi mentions that he was killed in Jumada al-Akhir in the year 126. 126. And as you can see with the arrows over, it mentions that it's not correct that Walid was basically killed because of kufr or zandaqa. And yes, it is famous that he used to drink alcohol and he used to commit the action of Qawm Lut. So there you mentioned those two points. That one, he wasn't killed for kufr or zandaqa. So remember that Imam Ibn Uthaymeen said, except for kufr. So Imam Dahabi is making it clear, he wasn't killed because of kufr or zandaqa. He wasn't killed because of that. And it's famous that he used to drink alcohol and he used to engage in the practice of Qawm Lut. This is the Khalif of the Muslims. So what did Imam al-Dahabi says? فَخَرَجُوا عَلَيْهِ لِذَلِكَ. They rebelled against him because of his indulgence in alcohol and his performing of the actions of Qawm Lut. His action of performing the actions of Qawm Lut. Now I can say, hand on heart, this is rejected from Ibn Uthaymeen. If you have a ruler today that is open, and that's where that bloody Rais got it from. He got it from Ibn Uthaymeen. He just added a bit more extra touch into it, but he got it from him.
تخيل أن للحاكم سواء كان ملكا أو رئيس دولة إلى آخره له نصف ساعة في التلفزيون يخرج على الهواء مباشرة يزني ويشرب الخمر. شو موقفنا منه؟
افرض كان بيزني في أمك. It's okay. طب يزني في أختك أو بنتك أو مراتك. طب بعد ما زنى عايز يتنيل فيك يعمل عمل قوم لوط فيك. إيه ما فيش خروج اوعى تقول له لا الخروج على الحق تسمع وتطيع واخد بالك تسمع وتطيع. طب افرض زود عن نص ساعة حرام. طيب.
If there was a leader exactly like Walid bin Yazid bin Abdul Malik, we have the ability to remove him, we get rid of him. Simple. He is not fit for power. He should not be even, we should not even allow such people to stay in power. He should be removed. And it's not kufr, like Imam Dahabi said. He did not, what's it called? What did he say? That Walid bin Yazid was not killed for zandaqa or kufr or zandaqa. And yes, it was famous that he used to indulge in khamr and qawm Lut, practice of qawm Lut. And what did he say? فَخَرَجُوا عَلَيْهِ لِذَلِكَ. Because of that they rebelled. Ibn Uthaymeen said something different. So the Salaf in 125, got rid of him. Okay? So if there's a leader such like that, the ulama should get together and encourage people to get rid of this and topple this freak. Who's committing all sorts of fawahish. Disobeying Allah Azza wa Jal. And he's supposed to be the leader of the Muslims. But you guys are content with that. So I'm saying that Allah yarhamu, Ibn Uthaymeen got it wrong. He got it wrong. Because the actions of the Salaf, okay, which obviously, as you know, بِفِعْلِ الْحُسَيْنِ, بِفِعْلِ الْحُسَيْنِ, etc., we can say clearly that this is unacceptable. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive Shaykh Ibn Uthaymeen for this verdict, because it's wrong. So I'm saying, like when you say Ibn Uthaymeen said, we reject it. And we've got every right to, but you guys start getting emotional, start labeling us, you know what, they go against the ulama, etc. Because you restricted ulama to that sort of methodology. Let's say you restricted ulama to Saudi, you don't. Obviously, you've got Salafis in Egypt, you've got Salafis in Jordan, you've got Salafis in Pakistan, you've got Salafis everywhere, neo-Salafis. But that sort of schooling, that methodology, that understanding, that approach is obviously this Najdi Dawah, this neo-Salafi, pseudo-Salafi approach. So we're saying that no matter when you present these contemporary ulama, we will be the first to, be very, very careful when we hear these fatwa coming from the Shaykh. We don't take it as gospel. We say, all right, where's the precedent from the Salaf and the ulama, the classical scholars? If you got something from there, we'll take it. If there's precedent from there. But this is, a lot of it's just sort of, like they say, to shift the goalpost, as you've just seen from this particular video. So this is just part 2, highlighting is distortion and deception. I'm pretty straightforward now and say that you have to have jealousy for your deen. You have to. You can't take anything from this particular individual, because I've highlighted so many concerns. And I'll be honest with you, there's so much that I left behind as well. I'll show you. Look, I've got 3 of Sahih Muslims that I was going to go through. But what I've decided is that I'm going to go through his issues, these statements in Trevor part 3. So this is part 2. So I told you. You guys were, fascinated, and you guys thought, 14 hours, down the pan. And I'll be honest with you, he's put more question marks over his sincerity. He's put more question marks now if this person should really be, or knowledge should be taken from this person. I say here and now, boycott him. He shouldn't deserve to be teaching. He should be boycotted. Anyone who values his deen and values his Islam should avoid this man like the plague. But ultimately, we're going to highlight more. And Training Part 3 is coming. Now I told you, I don't do this for entertainment. Like I said, I will make, if you consistently distort evidences, I will make you pay. Bi'idhnillahi subhanahu wa ta'ala. I will make you pay, and I am making you pay. I've made all of you guys pay for nearly 2 years or over 2 years, and I'm only getting warmed up. Bi'idhnillahi subhanahu wa ta'ala. Your time's finished. I'm not saying your time's finished, meaning to the point that you're going to be extinct. What I mean is, there's an alternative now. That bullying tactic that you had, trying to, engage the people and make them feel guilty. We're putting so much information out there that honestly you guys must be thinking, what has just happened in the space of 2 years? And the amount of messages I get. You know people are leaving you. Forget the amount of messages I get, only I know that. But I'm saying, that people are leaving you. You know that you're getting questioned. If people are leaving you, there is people questioning you. Say, look, what about this? Watch Hajji's videos. And that's hurting you. Hurting you. But I'm enjoying it. So take care of yourselves. Until try rate part 3. keep keep me in your du'as. Obviously that video will come out soon as well. وصلى على نبينا محمد.
كم مرة عصف الأنين بداخلي، كم مرة قد ذاق قلبي من أساه محنته وكم كرهت مصابها، لكن رأيت الخير يسكب في أنا. كم مرة قد ضقت من عظم البلاء، بشر وشيطان يحاصرني أبا. كم مرة قد أظلم الدرب ضحى، وتحدر الدمع وضاقت بي رؤى. كم مرة عصفت أنين بداخلي، كم مرة قد ذاق قلبي من أسى. محنته وكم كرهت